It's recording now. I'm just going to start this recording. Okay, what's the date today? It's the 18th, isn't it?
Yeah, 18th of May. Yeah.
2012.
It is 2012, yeah.
Okay, and I've just set that recording, so that will pick up your voice.
Yeah, it will do.
Okay. And your name is?
Shane Gadd.
Okay. And what do you do, Shane?
I'm a psychic medium.
Okay. Now what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to access the aura, the spiritual energy field, whatever you want to call it, of a person who lives in another country. He has approached me with certain complaints, physical and emotional symptoms that trouble him, right? And I'm going to ask you to access him and see if you can tell me what's wrong with him, what's causing the problem.
Okay.
All right. Now the way we do this is very simple. We have to do is follow my instructions.
Sure.
First of all, I'm going to ask, and being a psychic medium, you'll be able to access the source of these answers. I'm going to ask your higher self and my higher self if we have permission to do this.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do is to tune in the way you do and just ask that question, do we have permission to do this? Okay? Yeah? You're happy?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think of this man. I'm not going to give you his name.
No, it's cool.
Right? I'm just going to think of his name and where he is, and now I'm going to ask his higher self if we have permission to access him. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to tune in, and you'll get some kind of signal. You'll get an indication, a yes or a no. It could be a red cloud of blood, a green one, or some kind of symbolic message. You may even get a voice in. I don't know how you would receive the answer.
Feeling on me, knowing.
Okay, so we're asking the higher self of this person if we have permission to proceed. And just let me know.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay, so you feel we've got permission?
Absolutely. I mean, he's asked for help.
Right, okay. Now, before we proceed, I want you to, and you can do this with your eyes closed because you're using your psychic abilities, I want you to scan my body, my spiritual energy field, and let me know if you can pick up on anything that you feel might be.
Knees.
What are you picking up?
I've got pain in my knees. My knees are fine, so I know it's not me.
Okay.
Just as you were saying to me about scanning your aura,
Right.
I was sharp, I'm like drawn to your knees, I had sharp pain.
Okay. Okay, good. Well, let me tell you that when I was 22 years old,
Grinding.
I'm now 65, right?
Yes, so it's
When I was 22 years old, I was diagnosed by army doctors
right.
with chronic osteoarthritis
In the knees.
in both knees
Yeah, right knee is more painful.
and discharged from the army.
Right, there you go.
They told me I'd be crippled by the time I was 40.
Yeah, you've done good then, haven't you?
Let me tell you this, I feel no pain.
Really? There you go. So obviously it's in your aura like an imprint. Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm not crippled, I walk around,
Yeah, absolutely you do.
I feel no pain.
Wow.
Right? And my medical records will confirm what I've just told you.
Wow.
I went for an X-ray last year and there was nothing on the X-rays.
So I'm obviously picking up something.
Picking up something.
Yeah, a
Okay.
trace, isn't it?
Right, so that gives us an indication of your abilities to pick up
Yeah.
on something that
Yeah.
could be causing distress, right? What I want to do is to make sure that there is nothing in this room, nothing attached to me, nothing attached to you, that has willful intent to interfere with our work.
Yeah.
So you need to scan around, pick up on anything that might interfere with our work.
No, I'm aware of energies.
Right, it's a bit like washing your hands before you do an operation.
Yeah, it's clean, it feels clean.
Okay, good. Right, so what I'm going to ask you to do now is, I'm holding the name of a person in my mind who's asked for help. He lives in another country. And I'm asking for you to allow part of your consciousness to be taken to him. I'm asking for the guides, his higher self, his guides, yours and mine, to attend to these needs and to help in any way that they can, to guide and advise. And if you're able to approach the spiritual energy field of this man, what I want you to do is to approach it very, very carefully. Adopt and assume a cloak of invisibility and approach with great caution, because I do not want your presence or your viewing to be detected. I want you to be unobtrusive. And in much the same way that I asked you to scan me a few moments ago, I want you to approach and scan this man. And just tell me what you find.
Okay, it's quite a lot of information that I've just felt actually.
Okay.
One of the things I do feel is location or country, it feels that it is at times very hot or very warm. However, I do feel that it has high rainfall at times as well, or it can have high rainfall at times. There's a humidity in the air. I feel kind of sweaty feeling actually as well. That gives me a feeling of humidity in the air. And as I connect with him, I've got a sense of I'm slightly out of breath, or I feel like I'm out of breath. Gives me a feeling that he may have an issue with weight as well, because I feel like I'm out of breath, or everything feels laboured, my breathing feels laboured. And I feel a bit sluggish. However, he's not always felt like that. At some point he was full of energy, high energy, huge amounts of energy at one time. As I kind of scan that aura and his energy, I've got a real problem with the base chakra. That feels really depleted to me. There feels a real issue around that. Being the base chakra doesn't feel right. Gives me a feeling of I don't feel comfortable in the bladder either. I don't feel comfortable at all in the base chakra. And then I've got a real discomfort in the stomach. And what I'm aware of is a huge amount of fear, a real amount of fear in the solar plexus. And I feel very up and down. I feel agitated. I feel very frustrated. And I feel like I've got a slight tremble or a shake in there as well. Which feels not right. Feels not pleasant. At one time I feel like this person's quite talented. Still is, but I don't feel myself. And I've got a sense of, I don't know, my memory's not as sharp as it was. It's the solar plexus, the stomach area that really affected. And there's a huge amount of fear in there, which is turning into frustration, into impatience even. And not feeling kind of settled. I feel like I'm jumping about. I'm scatty now. I'm scattered. I'm all over the place. Which also is to do with that base chakra. That's
What you're describing to me are symptoms, how he feels. What I would like to do, if it's possible, is to find out what's causing all this.
Okay. Something to do with solar plexus. And I don't know if there's medication which is not helping now either.
There was medication, but there is no longer.
Right, it wasn't helping. He's still detoxing, so that must have been long term. Long term, long usage of medication. So he's still detoxing that. It's coming out in sweat, so there must be humidity in his environment. What is causing it? I feel like I'm a bit paranoid now as well. Something that's locked in here. Anxiety.
How far back does it go?
Till I'm a little boy.
Okay. What else can you tell me about this little boy?
I feel like I want to hide.
From?
I don't like the dark. I want to hide in the cupboard. Safe space cupboard. My dad's coming as well. I don't like that feeling. I feel scared. Anxious.
See if you can locate what he's afraid of.
Someone dark hair. Someone dark hair carrying that energy, anger. Very angry at me. Behind his dad, or with his dad, or a male that's like a father. Switching between first person there as well. So I'm feeling him as first person. It's anger. And I want to hide. I'm anxious about him coming home. Angry. I'm a burden. I'm a problem.
I don't want you to go too far down that road, because I'm beginning to feel you might be going slightly off track.
Right? Can't change that now.
No.
Feels strong.
What we need to do is to find out, if we can, the source of this anger. Is it with his own father? Is it with something or someone who's connected with his father? Is it from...
Yeah, it's around his dad. It's like it's been transferred.
Okay.
That's the feeling, it's like transference.
Right, I want you to come back now to the present day. We've been looking at his childhood. Okay? Come back to the present day. And I want you to tell me if you can detect anything around him may be causing him any kind of distress.
His environment doesn't help. His environment doesn't help. There's a lot of anxiety in the environment that he's in.
Okay, anxiety is just another word for fear. So
Fear,
where does that come from?
People generated within their circumstances or where they're at.
Okay.
And that is feeding what's going on around him.
Right. Now what I want to do is for you to go back with him about 4 or 5 years ago,
Loss.
and he's in the working environment. He is at work.
Highly pressured, his work.
Yeah.
Very high.
Can you give me some idea of what kind of work he's...
It feels like he's either helping others, medicine, is in an environment where he has a huge amount of responsibility
Okay.
for people's welfare.
Okay. And what's happening?
I feel panic. Although he's measured, he's calm, but there is panic around him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's being calm. There's a sense of loss. Something went wrong. Although I feel measured and calm, but there's so much stress in that environment.
Is he dealing with it?
In one level, yeah. Trained to deal with it
Mm-hmm.
as a professional,
Mm-hmm.
but as a human being, he's not dealing with it.
Okay. You are so spot on here. I'm not going to tell you what he's doing or what his work is, but I'm going to leave that.
As a professional, yeah, fine, but as a human being, no.
Okay.
And he can't cope with it as a human being.
Okay. So he needs to learn how to deal with these situations as a human
being.
Okay.
As a professional, yeah, no problem.
Okay.
As a human being, no.
Okay. Now I want to bring you back to the present day. He's keeping a diary. He's reporting to me how he feels. And I have his reports from the past couple of days. I want you to tell me, if you can, how he's feeling right now, right this moment.
I want to sit upright. That's one thing I feel. So I'm feeling a bit stronger, but that can change moment to moment. So it changes moment to moment, but I'm feeling a bit stronger. I'm also questioning lots. I'm questioning the way that I'm living. Is it right for me? Do I need this? However, it's what I've known for a long period of time in my life. So it's hard to think where I go from here. However, it is a feeling, so he's becoming more aware of his feelings now, which he was kind of analytical, logical. He's becoming more aware of what he's feeling. And that's kind of difficult for him, so he's trying to process a whole range of emotions and feelings. But he's feeling stronger from that, so he's kind of listening to how he's feeling. And it may be the first time in a lot of years, actually.
So if this man was sitting in front of you now and he was a client of yours, what would you say to him?
To be honest with himself, if he can be. And I believe he can be, because there's a part of him that is very aware. He has awareness. So if he can listen to himself and no longer lie to himself, so he's been suppressing how he's been feeling for the last 10 years, really. It's not easy because it means huge change. However, he can't lie to himself any longer.
So what would you advise him to do about that?
Surrender, and I know that's not easy. Surrender to how he's feeling, and also try and find some faith. And I'm not playing down that, and I'm not talking hippie terminology, but there is a sense of if he can find faith again
In
just something greater, because at one time he had faith in something greater, otherwise he wouldn't be doing the work he was doing, because he called upon that in the work that he was doing in a way different to me, but he would have done it. If he can find that faith again, he will know that it's okay. Let go of control, basically.
Right. I've just got one more thing to ask you. Is there anything or anyone, any energy around him that needs shifting or attending to in some way? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, I understand what you're saying to her, it's fine. There's something that goes back there, links to his dad, or around his dad there was an energy. I don't know if there was a religious belief there as well, because that keeps on coming up, keeps saying a cross, and a sense of Catholic as well connection. However, aligned to the light. So there's high vibrational beings around him that assist him or have assisted him in his professional career.
Are there any negative?
There has been. I'm just really looking, feeling around him because sense of depression. If it has, it's not having a hold. It's breaking down because his attitude is changing. But it definitely was there. Because he's an instrument of light.
Mm-hmm.
He does it in a physical way, but he's an instrument of light. So something grabbed hold of him. But he's always strived to move towards the light.
What do you mean when you say something grabbed hold of him?
Just I feel that in a moment, and I feel I keep getting two instances. One where when that huge stress was at work and everything's in chaos, it reawoke him. It became loud again. But previously to that, it's when I'm a child and there's some anger, and that anger is being generated by an energy around his dad.
Okay, so if that anger from the childhood, whatever source it was, if it keeps re-emerging, and it's a mystery to him as to why, then how would we deal with that?
His attitude is changing. So there's a part of him that is not matching that. And my feeling is the key to it is where he's letting go of control. Mm-hmm. All the time he had to be in control, which I think is to do with career and to do his work. He had to be. That it was able to then work through him or influence him. But he's got to a point where he wants peace, and that is winning the battle. So because he wants peace, he's letting go of control. That doesn't have a hold over him.
Okay. There is a possibility that I may ask you to help me with this again at another time. But for the time being, do you feel there's anything we can do to help this man before we end this session?
Is for me and you just to see him in light. Because someone's been doing that. Someone's been projecting him in light, or bathing him in light, and that is breaking down what is there, what's around him. And also I think it's helping him surrender the sense of being bathed in light. Because there's moments where he's getting a sense of peace, a sense of quiet, a sense of stillness. The moments and the fleeting moments, when they're there, they're quite profound for him.
Okay, well, I'm going to end it there. There's nothing more that can be done at this time. I'm going to ask you to withdraw from him. And I'm going to ask you, this is very important that you do this, I'm going to ask you to bring all parts of your consciousness back into yourself. And I, as the facilitator, I've asked you to do this, so I'm holding myself responsible to make sure that you are grounded and you're centered and that you're fully aware and fully back in this room with me and that you haven't left any part of your consciousness anywhere else. And now I'm going to thank the guides and elders for assisting us in this.